someone sent this out the door and said, "Yup, that's good." I guess if I don't film things, people don't think it happened. We're out here doing a service call. Dude blew out 2 tires, so we got to get this thing off the road. So we just had to go do a service call with this one. He blew 2 tires. Wait until y'all see this thing. People talk a lot of shit about me, but wait until you'll see what happened to this one because another shop worked on it. We're gonna get into this one, but yeah. That transmission ripped her in half. All right, we got her back in here. It's the next day. Had a bunch of stuff to do. So we got a brand new 68 RFE. Mind you, this transmission was already brand new and they declined the warranty on it. So, backstory on this. This guy and the other guy both took their trucks. The 2013 that I worked on that we put a head on was having a vibration, so they went and put a torque converter in that one, and the vibration is now worse. And then this truck took to the same shop, and, well, as you can see, it had a vibration. A pretty bad, gnarly vibration. And originally, they already fixed this truck twice. So, let's see here. They ripped a ton of wiring out the first time. And then the second time, well, it did a lot more damage. There was a loud vibration, followed by a bang, followed by, well, there's a loose bolt. So it looks like they didn't put all the bolts back in. That's loose as shit. Looks like the wiring is luckily all right. It looks like it ripped off a fuel connector. It ripped, oh, it did rip that wire out, okay. Yeah, it ripped a couple of things off. So, yeah. That's your transfer case there. That's in pieces. It did a whole number on things. They zip tied the 4-wheel drive, which obviously is now like this, but that's a loose bolt. Looks like that bolt right there's loose. Oh, okay. That would explain a hell of a vibration there. That bolt's loose, that bolt's loose, and that bolt's loose. You see how it's not flush on the bottom? This thing had a hell of a vibration. They didn't tighten. There's the 4-wheel drive fork. They did not tighten that front drive shaft. Let's see if we can find any other damage. Yeah, there's the fuel line, but... So they didn't tighten the front drive shaft, which appears to have caused a lot of this. I'm going to be checking to see if the dowel pins are still in, but you can see they literally just put this brand new transmission in it. It might have 500 miles on it, and it ripped the transmission in half. So all the guts are good, or at least they should be, but the case itself is destroyed. So I'm gonna get this drive shaft out of here. We're gonna start pulling things one at a time. Transfer case has to come off, but that front drive shaft was never tightened. I can tell you that now. This one will be going to court, so I have to document everything. I don't know if the rear drive shaft bolts were tightened, but he was... I know he was complaining about a leak back here, and then they also did that. They jacked it up by the airbag hanger, so if he ever wants to take those airbags off, he has to cut them. Did it on at least just that one side, but be careful who you guys take your shit to. I kind of feel bad because I didn't have the time to do this one because I was booked up, but seeing what he went through with another shop, and actually funny enough, that shop actually closed after this incident because there will be another truck. You'll see the 2013 that I did the head on. That truck is also coming in because that one has a hell of a vibration too. So yeah, that was... These transfer cases are not cheap. A lot of wiring we're gonna have to go through and figure out what's what. That's gonna suck. But we'll figure it out. Let's get everything out and transfer it over. And in the meantime, we are converting it to 2-wheel drive because we can't find a transfer case. So owner of the company had a spare truck with a transmission, a two-wheel drive one, and we just took the back shaft, which all you have to do on these 68s. I didn't know that. You just take this off the four-wheel drive side and you bolt that on, and there's a whole shaft in there. I didn't know that, and it bolts up to the factory four-wheel drive shaft. So pretty sure, yeah, you definitely have to RTV it, but yeah, that so it'll be a two-wheel drive truck for now. Probably gonna have a hell of a lot of lights on the dash. He just got done putting new tires and everything on this thing. He's got some money in this truck. This is the 2018 that this dude's just been getting screwed over by everybody. So, I do get this comment a lot, mainly just from one guy. So Dan, serious question for you. Who covers the downtime for this guy? Since they put the transmission in, shouldn't that reputable shop do it? All jokes aside, I get a lot of work from reputable shops because like this guy, he's worked with 3 separate shops that have had good reviews. He's gotten fucked over all 3 times. He was lied to about certain things. He had to do a set of injectors that he didn't need, a CP3 that he didn't need, an actuator that he didn't need. A lot of stuff on this truck that was a not need because other shops just wanted to make money off of it in all good character. In my case, I don't do shit like that. I don't sell somebody something they don't need. I'm not interested in making money that I don't need. If you don't need the part, I'm not gonna tell you to buy it. That's just fucking crazy. But that whole, oh, let's get under here. That whole piece came out with the drive shaft. There's your transfer case guts. So what I'm thinking is that vibration came from the front drive shaft being loose. I haven't touched these bolts. I haven't touched any of those. Look at that. There's a gap here. No wonder this thing was vibrating like hell. The cardan joint came apart. That grenaded. 3rd gens usually do that. Look at that. That bolt. Oh yeah, there's supposed to be a piece of case there. There's the pickup. Oh yeah. Actually, at this point, I don't even think I need to take those bolts out because in theory, look at that, we're getting chunks. There we go. Anybody need a transfer case? Oh man, that's... Look at that. That's horrible. Dude, that... Look at that. There's your vibration. And I did realize that these drive shafts do spin while going down the road. Even with that axle disconnect, man, it's kind of sad how this happened. Luckily, yes, we do have good news. The fuel lines that got ripped off, it did not damage the metal line. So all we got to do is go get 2 more lines from the engine itself. So like this one here, we just got to go get that line. And then there's 1 more somewhere else. But now you can kind of see. Now, in my opinion, who covers the downtime for this? Because there's going to be a major lawsuit on this one. Whether or not they can collect on it, still going to be a major lawsuit. Look at that. Just destroyed. Crazy how a lot of the internals look like they're in decent condition. I don't see anything that looks like it's in bad condition inside, other than the fork, but bearings were good. Yeah, I mean, we're getting there. Sounds awful. So, unfortunately, this just gets worse and worse. All right, so I got the trans on the jack. I got the 4 bolts loose on the cross member. The cross member was tight. So, without me pulling anything, can you see that gap right there between the transfer case? If you look at that bolt right there, that is connected. I should not be able, even though this piece is broken, this whole thing is moving as one assembly. You hear that? So not only did they not tighten the front bolts, but if you guys can see, that bolt moved. I wonder, can I get that by hand? I cannot. I wonder if I can get that top one by hand. Oh! Well, there you go. Oh, that definitely was not tight. Okay. There's a bolt for the transfer case. This thing was vibrating like hell for a while. Half the stud is still in it. That one over there. Yeah. So my goal here, just to show you guys how loose that is. These things don't just explode for no reason. I get the transfer, or the, look at that, we got wiring. The front drive shaft not being tight, for one, those probably came loose going down the road, and then caused this to be loose. And yeah, so I just got to document everything. Right there, is that a 1 or a 2? That's a 2 plug. So I got to figure out where a lot of this wiring goes. Looks like could be that one. I don't know yet. But the shop, he brought this back to that shop already once, and they repaired the wiring, because what happened was his wiring actually got looped around the front drive shaft the first time, and so they fixed it after they got it towed in. They fixed all the wiring, and this is on fix number 2, and this shop actually decided to close their doors and pretty much say fuck you to both these guys. So this is just customer 1. I have that 2013 coming back, which would be customer 2. But yeah, just so that we're all on the same page, this shit gets worse the more you look at it. So I went over here to come out and take this out. Mind you, I haven't even grabbed my 13 mil yet to do it. There's a bolt back in there, right there. So they put 2. This is how this was installed. Bolts were loose. I don't want to hear shit about me. Let's say, oh, shoddy work. This is shoddy work. Actually, this kind of pisses me off, to be honest. That's wild. If I push that up, look. Someone sent this out the door and said, yep, that's good. So, you know it's bad if I come over here. I have to use 2 hands on this. They cross-threaded the bolt. See if I can, I don't know if you'll see it, but so they cross-threaded that one. That one seems alright, but so to put 2 of the bolts in, and then this one, let's see how cross-threaded it was, because it's actually, they might have just used a bolt that was too long. So we don't even have all the bolts. Yeah, that bolt's definitely too long. They put the wrong bolt back in. And I can't even shout this business out because they don't even exist anymore. Look at that. That's not the right bolt for that. What the fuck? I hate people. Soulless people who will just take your money and run. This is a character issue. That's what that is. No soul, no character. Alright, well, I'm gonna get back to work here. Use my second hand to grab that. This is probably the lightest transfer case I've ever had to take out. Oh yeah. Holy shit, and it broke the back of the transmission. Here's another piece. There's the back of the trans. So I gotta cut 2 zip ties. Hey, the gears are still good though, right? I'll be honest, if these guys were still in business, like I said, they just closed like literally 2-3 weeks ago. If they were still in business, I would absolutely risk getting sued and give them a shout out, because this is just ridiculous. Look at all that. This was a good transfer case. You can see from the inside, like, there was nothing wrong with this T case. I think all said and done, this guy put about 2,000 miles on this thing in total after going back and forth with him. Yeah. That's crazy. We're gonna have to unplug all that. Like I said, we'll figure out where all this stuff goes. Yeah, I gotta get that plug out. And then I gotta memorize these bolts here, because we gotta swap out that back housing. So, yeah, oh look. Missing a bell housing bolt. That's where the wire harness is supposed to go. There's supposed to be a bracket. They didn't put that back in. Missing that top bolt. That bolt's loose. That's wild. Sorry guys. Yeah, so they didn't put the top bolt in. They didn't put that bolt in. They didn't put any of the bracketry back in. Let's see. We'll find more as we get into it, but it's not just one thing that caused this. It's a lot. I also looped that because of the fuel lines. So that way it doesn't leak anymore on my floor. That top bolt, I guarantee you I could take that out by hand if it wasn't absolutely destroyed. I don't know how much tranny fluid's left in this thing. Took a hit right there. That's crazy. Absolute. Oh yeah, okay, so that probably goes right there. Figure out which pin goes to what. Oh man. That's all destroyed. Alright, so got the inspection plate off. Simple things like that. One bolt was missing. That's not a big deal though, at least not as big as the rest of it. I am actually surprised that they had the bolts tight up in there. They actually had all the bolts, so we are spinning the motor over now. Short little stubby on the pulley, and then you can see up in there, we can see it, and then you can grab it from down here. I'm just doing it from up here, from right here, and then extension come out this way. Like I was saying, I'm surprised that the bolts are actually tight, because they chose to tighten the these, but decided to miss a few bolts, like up in there. All right, so I got all 6 bell bolt or torque converter bolts out. They look a little questionable, but they were all tight, and the plate was missing. Not that that's a big deal, I can get one, but the plate for the inspection cover, that whole thing was missing. So now we can start getting the tranny fluid drained, and from there we can start getting this transmission out. Now the guts are good, so we're saving the transmission, and we have a whole new case that all the internals are going for, because like I said, this thing had 2,000 miles on it. So we'll start taking these down nice and slow, and yeah, get all the shit off of it, transfer everything over. Some things were safe, like that wire there. Probably gonna order new pigtails for some of this stuff, like that, which actually some of it we're not even gonna reuse, because this is for the transfer case, so that's not even gonna get reused. That one back there, we will have to repin it or get a new connector. And then I did have to take 4 bolts to put on that one, just waiting on the RTV to dry, and then we'll torque that all down to spec. And the goal is to have that in tomorrow. All I'm doing today is just getting this out, and we'll start ordering parts, and we'll have this thing ready for him by Monday. And drive shaft, we can reuse that. Everything looks good on this. All the U-joints seem fine, but we'll give them a double check once we're in there. All right, so generally once you get all 6 of these bolts out, torque converters are made to spin. You need to be able to spin this when you put these in. So everything's out, but look at that. That thing is so tight up against there. I can't, doesn't spin. That should free spin. I get that the transmission here, and also somebody over tightened the shit out of this gasket. You can see all that. Yeah, that's crazy, because this thing is just leaking fluid like crazy out of this pan. This is a brand new 2,000-mile transmission. This is leaking. This was definitely put together when they didn't want to do it, and they just kind of slapped it together. Look at that. That's just hanging. That's disgusting. Get rid of that. I need to get rid of. Oh, they destroyed the connector. And then we just got to get this one over here. It's not even a bell housing bolt. So just the fact that we're using the wrong bolts everywhere, I'm actually surprised that they put this back. So I need to get in there, get that loosened up. That's a 10, and then we can take this whole bracket off. And they actually made it super tight. Great. I haven't even touched that yet. Just from wiggling it. So I know it might be getting repetitive at this point, but the dipstick tube wasn't even bolted in. There's no bolt for that before I touch it. We're gonna be pulling it off from the bottom. And I did not touch these fittings at all, but this is how they threw it in there. Both of those were leaking. Well, at least this top one was leaking. Like, that's hand tight. Not even hand tight, actually. Hand loose. So I'm gonna be pulling the dipstick tube out from the top. I've already unbolted it from down below. So what's actually crazy to me, first of all, these transmissions, they come literally just like this. The pan, everything. Brand new. Even this seal was shoved way up in there all cockeyed, so we'll have to fix that. But they didn't need to drop the pan. I don't know what they were thinking dropping the pan and doing any of that. And I know they dropped the pan because those bolts, they don't come like that. There is a torque spec for this. That one got hit, but like that bolt there was sheer over tightening. So I got those off. I did not get that off because that bolt is so tight and stripped. So we just got to get 2 more, and then this thing's ready to drop. Everything's out of the way. This is for the transfer case that grenaded. That's the vent. So that bolt there and that bolt up there. Put that somewhere right there. So 1 more bolt on the side. Yeah, there's supposed to be a bracket up there that holds that wiring, and this wiring got chewed up initially, so they had to go through and fix a lot of it. Actually, right here is what got eaten. So they had to fix all that. This thing's gonna have lights on for days with a 2-wheel drive tail shaft, but service 4-wheel drive light's gonna be on, but it's only temporary until he finds a transfer case, and then we'll swap this back piece out. So those bottom bolts though, they made tight as shit. And then we got to get the clip for this because you can't just set that there. So they ripped the clip off, and I have video footage that there was a clip on here when I did the valve body on this transmission. So look, this thing's still leaking. It's not even running. Look, we're getting little drips. That is craziness. All right, so this is where we're at. I'm going to be checking the adapter plate and all that shit as well, but we got the transmission out. I got the transmission out. when that thing cracked, and I'm gonna show you guys here. If I pull this out a little bit, look at this. Look at that. And see all the innards. Goes together fine. Push the converter in. Let's see if I can get another pop. I don't think I can. Okay, that's in all the way. So, case is cooked, but all the innards are good. So, he's gonna take that, put that in another transmission. I am gonna sweep up under here because I made a hell of a mess. There's the last. So this is the bolts that came out. This one was used as a bell housing bolt, so we pretty much got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bell housing bolts. So, let's get that out of the way. This thing got fucking coated. So, let's get swept up and crawl back under there, and I'll show you guys what it looks like. So this comes down to, it doesn't matter what you have, where you work out of, any of that. This goes to show you, these guys had a big shop. You know, what you have has nothing to do with your character or how you're gonna treat people. So, what I'm noticing right off the bat is there's no dowel pins. So, let's get under there and see. There's a Skeeter. I'm gonna kill him, give me a second. Got him. So, let's get under there and see what we find and if they used the dowel pins. Also, I don't like messes on my floor, so that shit needs cleaned up immediately. They actually did use them. Wow. I guess they really didn't have a choice, huh? Because if they didn't reuse the dowels, like, the new transmission didn't come with them, so they stayed in there. So it is what it is. I do see some grinding. What do you guys think? Should I take this off? We're not doing the rear main because there is no rear main leak that I know of. Actually, you know what? I am gonna pull this off and I am gonna check the rear main because, well, let's just see it. There should be 18s or 19s. So I was already in this far. Rear main is dry as a fart, but you guys see the grinding. So I definitely want to come in here and check the tightness of these bolts, which we're gonna do. But I think that's pretty much gonna conclude the video on this part because, yeah, it looks like it was leaking from, damn it. I hate that, and I don't know where my thing went to stop that, but yeah, she definitely grinded a little bit, but not as bad. I think the old torque converter was probably on its way out as well. Super long starter bolt. That's concerning. Oh yeah, cool. So no starter bolt. There's one on the bottom.
I can't see up there.
Oh, that's not a good sign. That bolt's loose. I can tell it's loose because I can move that washer by hand. So I'm gonna have to check this starter. That's crazy. So I don't know how far they got into this, but if you can hear that washer, I'm able to spin that by hand, so that bolt's loose, this bolt's missing, and that bolt is definitely too long. I'm gonna find some starter bolts, do that, check everything, check all these. I'm not gonna send this out until I know that everything's 100%. I know it has a valve cover leak, so that's where a lot of this is coming from. I did recommend a new valve cover, but yeah, I'm gonna get my floor cleaned up, get this out of here, get everything cleaned up, and you see guys, we'll see you in the next video.